make your own sunshine wherever you go. You have to. Every day that we wake up and put one foot in front of the other and literally just get dressed is a choice. Some days, don't get me wrong. Some days, like the day she passed, is very hard. Getting out of bed is hard. Do we do it? Yes, we do. This is how I'm choosing to live my life because she didn't have a choice. She didn't have a choice. She doesn't get to do this. And there are so many people in our lives that we know that they don't have a choice. So this is my choice to wake up in the morning and make the best out of my day.
Hey there, fellow rebels. Welcome to #ActuallyICan, the podcast where we say a hearty hell yes to designing life on our own terms. I'm Katie Ripp, a lifestyle coach, business mentor, and serial entrepreneur, here to guide you through the wild ride of defying what society expects of us and embracing our authenticity. On this show, we dive deep into taboo topics like death, money, spirituality, entrepreneurship, unapologetic self-care, and personal development, all while swearing and laughing along the way. Expect down and dirty conversations, plenty of humor, and a whole lot of exploration, leaving you feeling empowered to be your truest self. Whether you're craving a good laugh, seeking unconventional self-care tips, or simply looking for some camaraderie, you've come to the right place. We only get this one short life, so buckle up and let's design yours on our own terms. Ready to dive in? Let's go. Can we talk about the fact that we have the same name?
I know. When you said your email, 34.
34. Okay.
Almost
So
at 34.
we're 12 years apart, which is why I've never really crossed, our stuff never crossed. But yes. So for any listeners out there right now, Kate Kesnick.
Yes.
is your maiden name.
Yes.
Katie Kesnick is my maiden name. Sort of fascinating.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And we're not related.
Nope.
As far as I know. Anyway, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
This is meant to be a conversation. So I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
You stop me. I'm pretty good at asking pretty forward questions. If you're not into it, that's fine. My interest in this sort of #ActuallyICan podcast is to talk to people that have sort of been to the depths of despair, done all the things that either they said they couldn't, or that you never thought would happen to you, or the biggest fear that people have.
Right.
As a mother, the biggest fear you have is that you will lose your child. I don't know that there's a bigger fear than that.
No. I mean, it's crazy. Your child is supposed to outlive you.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to go. That's how it, is supposed to be. And then our life kind of got turned upside down.
Yeah. I'm just going to kind of let you go into it. Tell me your story. It doesn't really matter where you start.
Okay.
I do definitely have some specific questions about Rylee and what you guys are doing to celebrate her going forward and that kind of thing. But I really do love sort of the connection of your whole life, right? Everybody wants to know if you're just a normal human being, right?
Correct.
And
normal,
you're from
everything.
Middle Wisconsin. You'll tell by our accents.
Ashton, Wisconsin.
Every time I hear a podcast or see stuff on Instagram, I'm like, but are these people normal?
Right.
Yeah, are they normal? Do they have golden oak trim in their house?
Don't look at my trim when you come in my house.
Well, mine is golden oak as well. So I always think the more relatable we can get, and these are just we're just real humans. So.
Of course. So I guess I should start in 6th grade. So that's where my kind of cancer walks into my life. Mm-hmm. And before all of this, I was adopted into this family because my mom had cancer. So she got cancer in her, I want to say it was late 20s, early 30s.
Your biological mom got cancer?
No, my mom.
Your mom.
Dee. My mom, Dee.
Oh, I didn't know she had cancer.
Yes. Yeah, before the pancreatic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She had the breast cancer.
Yeah.
Breast cancer.
And the reason I think I know everything is because I grew up with this family.
Correct.
I think I know everything. There. Yeah, we're all out there. Go ahead.
So I had kind of grown up, doing Relay for Life and, always doing the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure, I think it's called. We always had a team. And, my mom is one of 12. So extended family is giant. you will never find a more welcoming family than mine. They're amazing. So when my sister got diagnosed with cancer at 19, obviously that's a whole nother story that she can kind of tell. When I was in 6th grade, I obviously heard cancer and I was like, oh, like, is she going to die? You know, I remember asking my mom, like, what's going on? My mom goes, she's going to be fine. She's going to fight. She's going to be fine. So my brain, I'm like, she's going to be fine. And they did a very good job of sheltering me. Obviously, being so much younger than my sisters, both of them, I was kind of the only child at home. Like, my sister was off. She lived in an apartment downtown. And then obviously she moved home when she got sick. But my schedule did not slow down.
Yeah.
It didn't. It just didn't. My dad took me to basketball, soccer, softball, volleyball, whatever. You know what I mean? My mom kind of was Kelsey's main caretaker at the time. And, you know, on chemo days, I would go have a sleepover at a friend's. And unbeknownst to me, I was like, oh, perfect. I'm going to Dee's house. Like, this is great. You know? And there are times I remember where it was like, can you please be quiet? You guys go downstairs. Or like, I also specifically remember when I would come home from practice and, you know, you come home from basketball, softball, you're sweaty, you're smelly. She did not like that, which made her sick, right? Like, now we all know why. Whatever. I look back and I'm like, oh, okay, wow, this is what this. But they did an amazing job of sharing the details that I needed and sharing the details that I didn't. Yeah. Right. So, you know, my first experience was, you know, obviously she did what she had to do. Cancer is gone. You know, we're celebrating, doing more things that involve cancer now. Everybody's raising money for breast cancer and going to this and doing this and this and that. Then 10 years later, my sister gets cancer again.
Same sister.
Yes, same sister. Yep. Same sister. We're all, what the fuck? What is, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. What is going on?
Once, thinking,
you beat it once. Like, you're thinking, okay, putting this behind us. You know, my mom hadn't had any health scares since her cancer.
Did they both have breast cancer?
Yes. Okay. So they had the BRCA gene,
okay,
which a lot of people in my family had. And obviously that's their stories to tell. Yeah. But that they did UW Health did a whole study on them and their BRCA gene and things like that. So
I think I know everything. I don't.
Right. We are literally, you ask any one of us to sit down and talk about it and, you know, they will. So she gets cancer the second time. I go to college in Minnesota at Winona State. I'm back for the summer to nanny the best 3 girls ever in the summer of my college years. So she ended up choosing to have treatment in Chicago, where she lived.
Okay.
So my mom took work off and went down there and was kind of with her. And she also had a boyfriend at the time who helped and everything. She got through it completely fine, you know, completely fine. You know, she's doing really good. I can announce this. She had scans last week with no evidence of any disease.
That's amazing.
So, right. She gets scans every so often. And
does your whole family get scans?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I also should. Okay. So this is how fucked up this is. Before my sister got cancer the second time, the summer of 2008, when I was going into school in Winona, Minnesota, my dad found out he had cancer behind his eye.
Wow.
So my dad is blind in one eye.
Oh, I didn't know
you
that.
wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, he's everyone's lifeline.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that scared the shit out of me. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? What the like, you're joking, right? Like, and I am my dad's quote unquote boy.
Yeah.
I did all the sports. So we were, you know, I'm going out with dad. He would take me to side jobs. I learned how to, you know, mix mortar, put brick by brick, building things, right? So when he got sick, I was like, you're joking. You're joking. And he's like, I'm going to be fine. They literally, and he makes this joke all the time. So they did radiation straight to his eye, right?
Wow.
And so he had a radiation patch and no one was allowed to come within a certain amount of feet.
Oh my gosh.
He said that's the best time of his life. Everyone left him alone. I'm like, oh, whatever. You know, flipping the bird. I'm like, did you see that, pal?
What are you going to do?
Yeah. So he's in good health. Goes and gets his eye, you know, looked at, you know, once a year, you know. Yeah. But so that was in between my sisters. I think it was 2 years before she got diagnosed that second time. So cancer just, flying around in our whatever.
Yeah. Do you find that it like desensitized you? Like every time you heard it?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost to a point, and me and my oldest sister Kendra talk about this all the time. It's kind of just like a numbing, and like nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah.
If you told me something that was kind of sad, and don't get me wrong, like, and that's what I pride myself on is like, you can talk to me about anything and I'm going to talk to you about it. And I'm not going to like that. I hate when people compare struggles, and like, because obviously struggles in your life, they're important in your life. Like this is my life, and I'm not going to, I don't like when people do that and are like, well, at least you don't have this going on. And like, we could play that game all day. Yeah. But I'm not into it. No. Yeah. It's just not. Yeah. It's like, what good does it do? Yeah. Nothing. It does absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
So then we're doing that. Obviously, Kelsey gets over her second cancer, super healthy.
How old was she at that time? Like 29?
Yes.
Is that right? Because they were 10 years apart?
Yes.
Okay.
29.
Yeah. Oof. Young.
Yep. And so obviously I'm, in college, whatever. Fall in love in college in Minnesota. Meet my best friend in the entire world. And so we lived in Middleton, then we lived in Wanakee, then we lived in Windsor. So, and that's where we finally decided to have a baby. It took us over a year to get pregnant with Rylee.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My pregnancy, I threw up every single day. I was like, what is going on? Like, whatever. It's like, the doctor's like, oh my God, this means she's the healthiest baby ever.
Oh, that's an interesting thing to say.
Right? They're like, oh, it only means that she's, whatever.
Yeah.
So
the shit people say.
That
for sure. So,
beautiful baby girl. It was awesome. Our nurse was great. Rylee arrived. My sister had, my oldest sister, 4 boys. First.
Yeah. Did you know she was a girl?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. We left it up to surprise. So everybody is amazing. My 4 nephews just love her. She loves them. Like, and I'll get into that later about she was so attached to them. That's all, she loved them so much.
When was her birthday?
October 10th.
Oh, the day before mine?
Yes. She's my October baby. So she shares a birthday with Brett Favre and my Uncle Ken. So anyways, it's Labor Day weekend. It's my mom's birthday. And we're going to the Taste of Madison. So exciting. My mom used to call her birthday weekend extravaganza. So, don't ask us where we got it. And earlier that week, my husband Tyler was changing Rylee's diaper, and he's like, I thought I felt something weird on her stomach. And I was like, okay, she's acting fine. Yeah. She's bubbly. Like, she was having the time of her life at the Taste of Madison. Like, we have pictures to prove it. So then I'm changing her diaper, and that Saturday before we literally go to the Taste of Madison, I'm like, well, I do kind of feel it a little more. So then I called the nurses line. Yeah. And they were like, is she acting fine? I'm like, yep, she's totally fine. And she's like, well, maybe just make an appointment with your primary on the Tuesday, because obviously Monday, Labor Day.
Oh, it's Labor Day. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, perfect. Yeah. So, made an appointment. She's doing fine. And the doctor feels like
on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I went alone because this was the first day of school. My husband, mind you, is a special ed teacher. So he's at middle school in Sun Prairie. I'm taking Rylee to a routine checkup, I think, because I'm like,
what did you think it was?
I thought it was just maybe a nodule or something. You know what I mean? Like a
hernia or something? Yeah.
Because it was in her stomach. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is weird. I'm not suspecting anything.
Plus, your first time mom.
Right.
So you're like,
that's the thing. Right.
Yeah, I want to take her in, but you don't really think anything.
I'm like, everyone's like, she's acting fine. Yeah. Whatever. Right. She's fine. Eating, sleeping, Yeah. Nothing's whatever. So the doctor goes, she's had this since when? And I was like, Thursday. I said, we called the nurses line. She goes, and they didn't tell you to come in? And I was like, no. She's like, okay, well, you guys need to go to the children's hospital right now. And in my brain, I'm like,
wait, what?
Trying to kind of puzzle piece together. I was like, okay, slap myself, okay, get it together. Yeah. You have to go here. So I called Tyler. I'm like, you need to leave school.
Did they do blood work there?
No.
Okay.
No.
How did she know to send you to the hospital? Like,
Well,
I'm not a doctor, but
right. I'm guessing she just felt it and was like, this is way not normal.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, which
I guess.
How does a baby tell you that they have a tumor?
Yeah.
They don't, right? It is what it is. So he picks us up. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? And my husband, he's an emotional guy. He loves so hard. Like, he was like, what is happening? What is happening? And nothing has ever happened like this in his family.
Yeah.
So we go there, we get to the hospital, and this is all like, right, your brain kind of lets you have memories that you want and blocks the ones that you don't. So, and I kind of remember like calling my mom being like, what? They're sending us to the children's hospital. And she's like, okay, just go there. They'll be fine. So we did. We park, we go inside. They do an ultrasound. And then they're like, okay, you guys are going up to the 5th floor. And we're like, what the fuck is the 5th floor? You know what I mean? And this is all kind of intertwined with my family as well, because my cousin was a peds nurse in oncology. She worked on the 5th floor at American Family Children's Hospital. So when we got there, I was like, what's going on? They brought us into a room. Finally, like both of our families
they send
there.
you up the 5th floor oncology and don't tell you that's where you're going?
Like they were kind of just like, all right, we're going to go up here and talk.
Okay.
So it was, okay, well, we think this is cancer and we think this is XYZ. We're going to take blood work. And that's where we met so when you check into the hospital, you get a nurse and they are like your main nurse. So anytime that they're working, you will have them, which it's kind of really nice, actually.
Oh, I didn't, until you don't like them, right?
Correct. Which anyone on that floor, they have a heart of gold. So,
yes.
And I love her. I still talk to her to this day. She comes to our golf outing every year and sits on the hole and
that's really
gives
cool.
people beer.
Is that something specific to American Children's, do you think?
I fully believe that, yes.
God, I love to support that. That's pretty cool. Right. That's because you don't know what the fuck.
Right. You'd have no clue.
Yeah.
You have no clue what's going on. Her name is Rylee. She's the best ever. Rylee loved her. Oh. Loved her.
Well, and something familiar for the kids too,
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
And I mean, they may have all given us, the red carpet treatment because of my cousin Natasha.
Yeah.
Which, who cares? I mean, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Great. Thanks.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Correct. And then we also, the doctor who's ever on at the time is your primary doctor. Okay. So we also struck gold there with Dr. Diamond, Dr. Carol Diamond. She has recently retired, but she's very much still in our lives, emails, once in a while. She is just a great person to talk to. Anyways, so once we've had, time to kind of process this, in my brain, am going, I've seen how many people get through this. Like, not an ounce of my body believed that she would die. And I'm telling you that, wholeheartedly. It never even crossed my brain. I said, it'll be fine. What are we talking? All these people have
fine.
These people are fine. And that's kind of my husband was kind of with the diagnosis having not a harder time, but he was just like, what is going on? And in my brain, I'm like, nope, you just do what the doctors say. You do the chemo, you do the surgery, you'll be fine.
We have proof.
Take the course, you do fine, right? Yeah. And then because she was fine, they were like, okay, you can go home tonight. I think that was, Thursday. And then Friday, she kind of had a hard time breathing. And we were like, what is going on? So call the doctor, bring her in. So then we ended up starting chemo. Literally, that's how fast this thing grew.
What?
And then it stuck out of her body. So
oh my God.
We were I'm like.
So from the first time Tyler felt it until
literally
a week later?
Later, yeah.
Oh my God.
So this was clearly I'm saying fast growing, but this is the hard thing. And it still irks me to this day that they can't tell me where she got it from. They can't tell me if I gave it to her. With children's cancer, they have no research.
Oh.
There's no research.
Why is that?
Nobody knows. I don't know. They claim that they don't have any money. That's why all of our proceeds basically go to children's cancer research.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing there. They get 4% of like the United States allotment of cancer. 4% goes to pediatric.
Oh.
Which it's like, what? Like, how does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like, no sense at all. Even with like Alex's lemonade stand is a popular for, stuff like that. But it's shitty.
Yeah.
Of course, shitty. But like, obviously that's after the fact that she died. Like, I was like, you can kind of look at her body and study a little bit, but obviously like we want her back. Like she is, ours. But obviously with, when we finally got over the fact of the diagnosis, it was like, okay, game on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
They sent her biopsy away to see if it was, there's actually which is crazy to me, a cancer that will go away, that will just,
like you grow out of it?
Somewhat. She kind of explained it too, that it would like kind of, just with age, if we, removed it, like it would just, it's not. Now I was like, okay, great.
Okay, so that's
great.
Hope,
it's going to be
right?
like we're not even here.
Yeah.
It's going to be like we didn't even have this.
That's where your head went.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come back. It's the bad kind that 1 in a million or something have or whatever.
What was it?
Neuroblastoma.
Okay.
So when they measured it, it was like, I want to say like 5 or 6 inches or something in there. So it was
in a little body.
Correct. That's the thing. So they were preparing us for about a 15-hour surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time for anesthesia, right?
Right. That's the thing. That was probably one of the hardest things, was getting her down for procedures and mind you, my husband had to keep working a lot of the days because we needed the insurance.
Yes.
That's my husband's job and my husband are the main reason that we are not in medical debt right now.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. It's astronomical. Yeah. It's whatever. So he could come to as many procedures as he could. Like, obviously he was there for the big surgery and he was there for most of the chemos and things like that. But these little procedures, my dad would come with me and my mom or whoever could make it down.
Yeah. Were you working at the time?
Yes. I worked at College Town in Sun Prairie. They were like, go do what you need to do.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah. I had an amazing boss. Still love him to this day. Him and his wife and their family. And I work for the owners of College Town right now. That's where I work for.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yes, like they were like, and a bunch of people donated their vacation hours and for me. And they've never once were like, no, you're going to lose your job over this or anything like that. Yeah. So that was the most kind of comforting thing at the time. And they also put on a benefit for us at a little, golf outing, and some of the greatest people I've ever met. The generosity in their hearts is crazy. But all these procedures, obviously this surgery was a really big one, right? Yeah. So we all waited in the hospital room together, like waited in the waiting room. They had like a designated area, which was nice. And every say 2-3 hours, you kind of got an update from the nurse. Still working in here. So we just we got like those swear word notebooks. So we're just coloring there, me, both sets of parents, my siblings, in and out, just waiting for time to pass. We got, this tattoo, we got little tattoos made of it on Etsy.
Oh, fun.
So we put one on her.
Oh,
and then all the kids wore them, and, my dad put one on, my mom put one on, it was funny. We tried to make light of the situation, because what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do when your child is in some other room being operated on? I mean, obviously these surgeons are 1 in a million. Yeah. They are great.
Yes, thank God for them.
Seriously.
Yeah. And the nurses.
Correct.
Right? I always think anytime you get into these big things, the nurses are just in the shadows.
Correct.
Right. But they are the people that do the things.
Correct.
So
everything.
Yeah.
So, they're like, oh, I think we got, most of it, but there is some stuff that is, right there on the liver, and,
Was it attached to the liver?
Yes. It was right in, but he's like, there's some veins and stuff that I can't clip around, which whatever, if you got, some of it. And then, so she ended up post-op with, it's called a chyle leak, which is where some of the stuff leaking out of your vial in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that was kind of a setback because it prevented a lot of stuff from happening, which it pushed back everything. So she had to get a stem cell transplant as well.
Oh.
So, which, like, I wish you could have seen her during all these things because she had a phone in her hand, sunglasses on, like, just sitting there chilling. Like, she was, like, quote unquote, the perfect child in the hospital. Like, I mean, yes, she was fussy about some things. Yeah. Like, that's normal, right? Like, sleeping basically in a cage. So she literally, we had like a bedside cot that we bought at Cabela's, and she slept with me in there because they won't give you a bed.
Oh, okay. That was my next question is like, did you stay there with her 24 hours a day?
Yes. And mind you, there's other people in the hospital who are going through this who have 4 other kids, 3 other kids. Yeah. I cannot imagine splitting your time.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Like, even when Tyler had to go to work and then he would be right back in the hospital, I was like, what do you do? What do you, like,
how do you go and teach?
Correct.
And how do you
do? Right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you do what you have to do.
It's
right?
wild. You put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
And,
and they do too.
Move on.
Right. Like, that's not your, I mean, it's awful no matter what. And like you were saying before, like comparing your tragedy to somebody else's, like,
yes,
everybody's just doing the best they can.
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And so the stem cell transplant, she, harvested the stem cells, did the transplant. She got pretty sick with it.
The stem cell.
Yes.
Yeah. How far along into this process are you now? Because she was 11 months at the time of diagnosis.
This is about halfway through. This is like January, February.
Okay. And she's living in the hospital?
Oh, pretty much. We've been there.
You've not been home. She's not been home.
Well, so every time we had chemo, we'd be in the hospital for like 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Then we come. Yes, because your counts, go really low.
Babies.
Like infections. And, what do you do? So, I mean, we were in and out. And then if she gets fever, that's different protocol.
Yeah.
So many visits to the ER. What do we do? Oh, she has infection. So, or placing the port in her chest. She always had she wore like a band thing. You'll see in a bunch of my pictures. She had a port placed because of chemo and things like that. And obviously like the bathing, we had a home health nurse came kind of every day, but then I learned how to do it. So I would give her shots at home. I would give her fluids when she was, sleeping in her crib, had a pump and everything, which is, it's cracks me up because it was like, I'm a regular person. Like,
I'm not a fucking nurse.
I have a degree in business.
Right.
Like,
which is a little bit different mind than a nurse.
I'm like, just poke her right in the leg. They're like, yep, this is like,
wait, what?
Awesome. Okay. Like, but what do you do? You just do what you have to do.
What you have to do.
Do what you have to do.
Yeah. Are you still at this time like feeling we got this licked? We're still good.
That when she went in the ICU, I was like,
with the stem cell.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is happening? Like, and I was like, don't go there.
Yeah.
Don't go there. Just don't go there. Because then you don't have to go there.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't go there, you're not there. So I'm like, here you go. Obviously, she gets out of the ICU. We kind of get her back up and they're like, okay, we can go home.
Okay.
So we're home. Kind of, she starts acting funny in this. So she passed on May 7th. A couple weeks, she kind of started throwing up and I was like, what is going on? Like, because they were like, we're not going to do anything for a while. Like,
let's give her a break.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need a break. Have some time at home.
After the stem cell, was it fairly like she was still sick, but
March, yes.
But it was hopeful?
Yes, because they were like, okay, we'll come back at it with this.
Yeah.
So we get home and and obviously, like I said, dates and things are a little fuzzy because who the fuck wants to remember that shit?
Yeah.
Right around April, I want to say it was mid-April or late April, she started like throwing up. It must have been late April. Throwing up, and I think this was 2 weeks before she died. Mind you, 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, something just isn't right. And then my husband and I were like, what is this? So we felt something on her neck. And I immediately obviously called. They're like, okay, scan tomorrow, whatever. So, and that obviously took another week. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I think she started throwing up. And then it was the week after we noticed that she was having like a, you know, and it was that her test was on a Tuesday, I remember, or it was on a Wednesday. Either way, they put you in a room and they say, well, you know, we'll be right there. So then Tyler and I are sitting together.
Is she with you?
No. She was with our parents.
Okay.
In the room. And Dr. Cappuccini, love him. He was like, this is not what we wanted. The tumor has grown. It's all over her spine into, you know, up here. It's growing fast and it's everywhere.
Oh my God.
And at that time, you know, my brain just went blank because I was just like, we did all the things, you know what I mean? And I think I remember just not saying anything. He's like, we can try radiation. And at this point, I'm going, what? I don't want her to deal with this bullshit anymore, this prodding and, you know, all that stuff. So at this point, we're both like sobbing, you know, he's like, just take some time to think about it. And
think about what?
Right. That's the thing. Like, if you want to do radiation
or what?
Or basically hospice.
Let her go?
Yeah.
Oh. Did they say it like that?
No, not. He's just like,
take some.
It's correct. Like with the news that you have.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's like.
Yeah. Just let it sink in. Then.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah.
You know, like. And at that point, it's like, what do you do? Like, and we looked at doctors in New York.
Oh,
we
sure.
looked at the St. Jude place.
Okay.
We looked at, and I talked to so many people about this because I was just like, they're like, you have a state-of-the-art children's hospital in your backyard.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is the protocol for,
people
kids
come
with
here
cancer.
for this,
correct. Right? This is the protocol for kids with cancer. So your plan probably isn't going to change. In Michigan, they also had a specialist, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So we were like, okay, like what? You know what I mean? And so we walk, which felt like a mile, back to our room. We go inside, and then obviously our family sees us just bawling. And then I just go and lay in this metal cage crib thing. And at this point, like, Rylee is 18 months. She looks at me and she's crying and she goes, signs all done.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And so I was like, that's when it like really hit me. Like us doing all of this stuff for her, you know, what is this? Yes, we have done this for the last 8 months or whatever.
Yeah. Half of her life, right? Kind of.
And right. Poked at her and prodded at her, sucked things in her nose, you know.
Yeah.
All these things, and it's still not working. So obviously everyone is just, you know, screaming, crying at this point. My parents and Tyler's parents are like, well, what do you guys want to do? Because we'll drive her to anywhere. And then that's when we had the conversation of, there's probably not going to be enough time for you guys to get anywhere.
Did they give you any hope?
I mean, not enough, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I straight up asked, they all have children, a bunch of them do. What would you do for your child? And obviously, he's like, I would make them feel as comfortable as possible. So that's when I was like,
and they know the most.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not an expert in this.
Yeah.
I don't know what her body's doing. And clearly, she's signing all done. At that point, what do you...
Yeah, it's the only way they can communicate.
That was kind of my sign. And she could still talk too. But like at this point, she is tired. Mm-hmm. That girl is tired. Right? So they were like, a Grace can't get you home until Monday.
And Grace is the hospice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we can move you to a bigger room. We'll get you a bed. So literally, I laid in the bed with her for probably 3 days straight. Took a break, but everyone was like, you need to go, take a walk a little bit. So the most I was probably away from her was like maybe 10 minutes. But I also wanted our parents to kind of have their whatever, moment with her and whatnot. And I'm so thankful that she did this. And I know she did this on purpose. On Monday, when we were supposed to go home, the doctor said, I think it's going to happen very soon.
Wow.
So that conversation we had with the doctors was on a Friday. She passed on Monday around 5:00.
Wow.
So the fact that they said, oh, it could be, 3 weeks, it could be,
Yeah.
And walking into somewhere with your child and then leaving without them is probably one of the worst feelings in the entire world, if not the worst.
Yeah.
It was hard, but then it was kind of like you pretended that you didn't go through it. So like we all came to our condo in Windsor and I kind of I went and took a shower. And it was also the next weekend was Mother's Day. Like, I don't think it really kicked in yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone was just, do you want to play a game? Like, we sat there, like,
well, what do you do?
Right. That's the thing.
Physically, what do you do?
And I don't think anyone knew what to say or to do. And I kind of was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, is like somebody wake me up from this nightmare because like, what is going on? It was just like this out of body kind of experience. Cause I remember taking a shower and I literally obviously we were at the hospital. So we got some packages and I had ordered I think it was like a little necklace that said like Rylee or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. So like, what the fuck do I do with this necklace?
Oh God.
What do I do? You know what I mean? Like we were all kind of just like, okay, let's order pizza. Like, so we had someone brought pizza and I think we were just like, okay, like go to bed now. Like, and then to be honest with you, the next probably a couple of months is a huge blur. Yes. Like, I don't really remember her funeral, like at all. Like at all.
What kind of funeral did you have?
At the Wanakee.
Did you have like a traditional Catholic funeral?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I remember some of the wake because of shit that people said.
Well, there could be coffee table books for that.
That's the thing. Like, good luck tomorrow. Someone told me good luck tomorrow. I was like, wait, what? And at that point, and we know a lot of people. Let's just be honest. Like our family, we know a lot of people. So the line was like, out the door, and you know what I mean? And like, it's a fucking kid's wake. Like,
and it's also a child, right? So anybody that was even like contemplating not coming is coming.
Correct.
Right? Like that's just, it's not like, oh, they lived a really good long life, right? Like they don't need me there.
Correct.
It was a different story for that.
And, you sit in this line, right? You sit in this line. And
who was all in the line with you?
It was a lot of us. Yeah. Obviously me, Tyler, my parents, his parents, and then our siblings. They could be in the line if they wanted to. And I think they were because like we had so much support from literally anyone and everyone. Like, I think I remember my sisters, like the PTO at Sunset Ridge, like gave so much stuff to Rylee, and but that's what you do when you go through things like this. Like your village shows up for you, and ours was obviously the best. But at some points you're bawling because other people are bawling, and some people are fine and like you're laughing and like saying thanks for coming, like I love you so much, and then other people are saying good luck tomorrow at the funeral. Like what? What is going on?
Please don't.
Or like everything happens for a reason and, you know, that stuff, which like, this is what I've learned. You take nothing personal.
No,
I take nothing personal anymore. And I don't expect anything literally from anyone.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't.
Yeah.
Like, this journey that I'm on and this one life that I have, people can worry about themselves and can say things that's on them, not on me. But it's funny to me when I'm like, what is going on? You know what I mean? And I specifically remember at the funeral being really pissed off. Like, I was mad. I'm still in this
anger stage, right?
I am beyond pissed. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? And like, I am so mad. And like, someone was like, you don't have to be so stoic all the time. You can. Right.
How
exactly.
about fuck
Middle
you?
finger. I was just like, I kind of like stared and then just walked away because I was like, what is.
Yeah.
Like, why would you say that to someone? But again.
Yeah. Not my
all this stuff has taught me my life before is out the window. And that's what kind of some people have to understand. Like, I am not the same person. When you go through things like that, you are not the same person. You think you can hurt me? It's honestly laughable.
Yeah.
And trust me, therapy. Go to therapy.
Yeah.
Best therapist ever. She was like, you have nothing to do with other people's thoughts or opinions or anything. And I was like, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for freeing me.
Yeah.
From doing, you know, all this stuff. And it's even like a big thing was like, you know, it's a casual conversation. How many kids do you have?
Oh.
When you go somewhere, and some people would say I'm a homebody. I love my home time with my kids, but I also like go to these events. I go a lot of places for work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you say you have 3 kids? And then do you say like, oh yeah, one of them died? Like, you know, like so casual, but that's my life.
Yeah.
So I don't like,
yeah, like, are you going to ask me how I am? And would you like the long story?
Right.
Or just I'm fine.
Right.
Right. Because that's what you're going to get is.
And I have, you know, and they're like, oh, wow. Oh, I thought you said you only had 2 kids. I said, well, you know, when you think you're not going to like get into it or whatever. And then, but like, I'll always like, I'm not going to not say her name. I just say like, oh, yep. Our daughter passed away 6 years ago from cancer. And they're like, oh my God, you know, and I'm like, yep, well, you know, we've raised a ton of money for pediatric cancer research. So she's still here with us and, you know, helping us pave the way for more research and to get more kids surviving.
Yeah. So they don't have to do that. So they don't have to answer your question.
Correct.
and watch you cry for me.
Right. Which is like, she's like, their uncomfortableness has nothing to do with you. So you say whatever you want to say.
Yep.
And
like, it's not your responsibility to make sure that person feels okay.
Correct.
Period.
Correct.
With anything.
Yeah.
Anything anymore.
Literally.
I mean, it's just not our responsibility as humans to make ourselves uncomfortable to make somebody else feel comfortable.
Yes.
I mean, I might get that tattooed.
Literally, that's like
real.
Right in my forehead. Excuse me. Hello.
So I can see it in the mirror.
Dad.
I'd love for you to tell me about Rylee. Tell me, like, I know she was like every picture I've ever seen, she's got this like amazing smile, twinkle in her eye. Like, tell me about her. Like, tell me about any moments that like her humor came through or anything. I'd love to hear all of them. But, you know, we only have so much time.
Right. She was just spoiled. Like, girly girl of all things. Like, obviously, like I said, with my sister's boys, like, oh my gosh, there's the pictures of kissing them and, you know, hugging them. And she would just say their names all day. And like, she has this, like, at the end of her tone of voice, it would always be higher. Huddy, Maddie, and then Kai. Because Kyan's the youngest and he's just Kai.
Yeah.
But they all called her baby babe when I was pregnant with her. So, and they would all, you know, the littlest Kai, which he was 5 at the time when she was born, he would, you know, feel my belly when she kicked and, you know, Rylee was always like a bright light, you know what I'm saying? And she loved them so much. She loved literally anyone that she met. They were like, oh my gosh, like blowing kisses to the doctors on their rounds. Going in the hospital, she would love riding like the little buggy things. And she would wave to everyone and just say, hi, like, hi. And Doc McStuffins was bigger.
Oh, yeah.
So she had the doctor outfit. So she would dress up for specifically this one, Dr. Nick. He was a resident at the time. And he would come in and she'd put her doctor coat on. And, it's just, she kind of made everything better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She wasn't like, if you saw her, and obviously besides the bald head, you wouldn't be able to tell that she was sick.
Yeah.
And almost everybody's like, oh my God, is she afraid of hospital? No, she literally got treated like a queen at the hospital.
And she also grew up there.
Correct.
I mean, like, it was like a major part of her,
correct,
development, right?
Right. Especially at that time when she started talking and when she started, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she played with the toys in her hospital room. We literally got like this like big tent and she would sit in it and think she's cool, but always hooked up.
Yeah.
She had a wig, a princess wig that she wore. It was just made out of yarn. It's actually a company and it's really cool. But she also knew no different. Right. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And we would still get to go to some things like her cousin's games and things like that. But obviously the hospital was not a place of danger for her.
Yeah.
It was a place, okay, here we go. Everybody's coming into my room and,
yeah, everybody's doting on me and loving on me.
Yeah. And, obviously she was balloons and, every time she went, so it was not a place of fear for her.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. Well, now I can walk in there fine, but like before it definitely was a place of, I don't want to be here. What am I doing here? Things like that. But yeah, she would dance all the time and she was literally so happy.
Yeah.
That's just what she did. And she, great sleeper, loved sleeping. She loved cuddling, would give anyone a hug or a kiss or, was literally one of the happiest babies.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, after all she went through, right? But like, we know she didn't,
Mm-mm.
right? Like, we know what that looks like and what it feels like. I mean, maybe not what it feels like, but like from a, once removed, we know what that looks like and how sad it can be and whatever, but she really had no idea.
Right. No. And she could have been the crabbiest baby and everyone would have been fine with it.
Yeah, right. Except she wasn't.
Correct.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by First Choice Dental. First Choice Dental has been providing exceptional dental care to the Dane County area for nearly 30 years. From general dentistry to orthodontics and oral surgery, they have your entire family's dental needs covered. With 12 area clinics, they have a care team just down the road from wherever you are. For more information, visit firstchoicedental.com. You touched on this a little bit before about like how much it's changed you as a person.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. I'm just so fascinated by, well, again, I'm sure that nobody likes to talk to you about it, right?
Correct.
Like, I mean, I'm sure that people that are really close to you, like, right, your family and friends that are really close and, been on this journey with you, that's a different story.
Right.
But of course, like when you say we lost our daughter to cancer and people are like, oh, I think I need another drink.
Yeah,
or I hear somebody calling or tell me about that because it's that comfort, discomfort.
So right now, this might sound bad, but like things that used to bug me I don't get bugged by anything anymore. I take nothing personal, nothing. Like if you could be like, how, like, I think like you probably need to like do a little work. Like, what do you know what I mean? Or like, maybe like, no. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, whatever you say to me is not, obviously if it's like work or something like that, yes, I'm going to care and like put that in my thing and like try to be better with XYZ. I don't know. And it kind of with how I raise my kids now, I'm okay, have your feelings, go through them. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Like you go sit in those feelings. I would be like, so if someone was, like, let's stop crying. Like you're ruining the day. Like, no, like you're going to have the day that you're going to have. I'm in charge of my own happiness. And so are you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this is something I wholeheartedly believe is make your own sunshine wherever you go. You have to. Every day that we wake up and put one foot in front of the other and literally just get dressed is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Some days, don't get me wrong. Some days, like the day she passed is very hard. Like getting out of bed is hard. Just having to function to be a mom to Link and Cam, hard. It's very hard that day. Do we do it? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
You have to show up for your kids because obviously they deserve that. And they're young enough right now. They have no clue. They have no clue. They love talking about their sister.
Yeah.
They love seeing pictures of her. That's Rylee, Mom. I said, yep. Yes, it is. Things like that. But people would understand if I didn't make the choice to get out of bed.
Yeah.
But that's my choice. This is how I'm choosing to live my life because she didn't have a choice, right? She didn't have a choice. She doesn't get to do this. And, there are so many people in our lives that we know that they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like my mom.
Yeah.
She fought so many times and, so this is my choice to wake up in the morning and make the best out of my day because what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
What
else
is
a choice, right? Like,
right.
I mean, follow her, right? I suppose that's a choice, right? Like, I suppose that crosses people's mind.
Right.
Did it cross yours?
Yes, multiple times. And thank God for my husband because we kind of obviously were our own. I mean, everybody goes through things differently, right?
Yeah.
You go through different things. And it seemed like everything reminded me of her. So in our house, like I literally put a bed where her crib was and like slept there. And then we kind of decided we can't live here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's too much. Can't live here anymore. So my dad, being the superhuman that he is, like redid 3 of the bathrooms, like, kind of whipped it into shape and we sold it really fast for a good price.
Yeah.
Whatever. Then we moved in with my parents and figured out, okay,
yeah,
what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do? And obviously, like I said, at that point, you don't really want to live. What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Like your kid just died.
And you're only.
Correct. So I'm like, on top of it, the whole Mother's Day thing, it was like, it seemed like, to me, like personal, like double whammy.
That was like 5 days later or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, why? And then we knew, obviously, me and my husband, we were like, we wanted to have more kids. And I talked to because I was kind of a freak about this. I was like talking to the doctors. I'm like, what are the chances of my next kid having this?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, no.
Yeah.
And
right.
So then I talked to Dr. Diamond and she was like telling me about other people's stories about how they've gone on to have more kids and their kids are healthy and beautiful and fine. And she said, and you are going to have more kids who are healthy and beautiful and grow up to be old and, things like that. So that gave me a lot of hope and, and with everything that they don't know about it, like that is my biggest fear, obviously, to this day of like, and there is, which again, therapy, this amount of guilt that I carried around with, did I give this to her? Mm-hmm. And it still is a nightmare. I mean, wise, but you have to walk yourself out of that because it's a very, very dark corner. Mm-hmm. Like, I grew her inside of me. What did I do if she had that? Was she born with it?
Yeah.
Did she have it in utero? Did she just get it when they can't tell me.
Yeah.
They can't.
And when you have no answers, you have no answers.
It's a mind fuck.
Yeah. It's just like a constant perpetual question, right?
Correct.
So tell me about your mom, because when was that?
So Rylee passed in
by the way,
May.
it's not enough to like lose your child.
Right. I lost my child, my grandma, and my mom 3 years in a row.
Oh my God. All in the same, like around the same time, spring?
My mom was in December.
Oh, yeah.
My
I
grandma was
remember
in
specifically when I heard that your mom had cancer.
Yes.
And I was like, are you
which was
are you fucking serious right now?
June of 2018. So Rylee passed in May.
That June?
And then she got diagnosed in June.
Was she sick?
So,
I mean, she was probably grieving so hard that she didn't fucking know.
Well, right. That's what they were thinking. So we literally were going up to the Dells. They do like the WBCA for basketball. I don't know what the Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association or something does like a game.
Because Tyler's a coach,
Dells.
right?
Not a basketball coach. He's a baseball coach.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But they wore Rylee Strong on the back of their jerseys for the game, for the all-star game. And then one of the coaches wanted his money to go. He's a local Wanakee coach now. He put Rylee Strong on the back of the shirts for us and, donated the money. It all goes to pediatric cancer awareness and stuff like that. We were literally on our way up to the Dells for this game. And my mom calls and says, and mind you, they're coming to the game too, because everybody's, going to be there for Rylee. She goes, so I have pancreatic cancer. And I was like,
excuse me?
In the car, I'm like, Tush, stop the car, turn around, we're going home. She's like, no, you're not. We're going to the game. I'll be up tomorrow. We're going to the game. And I'm just sitting there like, in my head again, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Like, this is a joke. This is a joke, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is like, what?
Yeah, like, what the actual fuck?
And then they literally gave her 9 to 11 months. They were like, this is pancreatic cancer. It's, you don't do surgery for that because it's so, the tumor or whatever, where it goes, it's not. It's
operable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if it is, it's
correct.
Bad.
Right. You run the risk of, whatever.
Yeah.
So thank God for the Carbone Cancer Center, Dr. Sam. He got our mom prolonged until Cam was born in, 21. So she died in December of 2020.
Oh, you were pregnant with Cam.
Right after she died on December 27th. And I found out probably the next week. And so I found out that I had COVID and was pregnant on the same day.
Oh.
And we pushed back her funeral, me and Tyler. So what a spin with that. But she got, extra time because chemo went so good. And don't get me wrong, there was times where she was like 80 pounds and we were all like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And which, mind you, her struggles are obviously, she's an adult. We're all like, what is going on? What, you know what I mean? And she could, tell us if she wasn't feeling good and, things like, and she did. And all this, time. And that was like COVID.
Ugh.
So you couldn't go to the hospital with her.
Yeah. Could your dad?
No.
Oh my God.
Like,
what a different experience, right? Because
seriously,
you could have had 30 people in Rylee's room, right? And then she was alone. Yeah.
And she literally, and it doesn't even make, to me, I'm like, what? Just like a different type of heartbreak, because obviously she's been through so much. She could have just said, nope, I'm just going to use this time that I have. Like, we got to go to the beach. We got to go to Florida. We took a big family vacation in the fall of 2018. And that's what she wanted. She wanted to go to the beach. That's her favorite place. So we got a house on the beach, went to the beach, spent time together. Obviously, that was Link's first plane ride and, things like that. But the whole COVID thing, I will say, there was no, if she was sleeping, we didn't know. We told her to rest and hey, call me when you can. And we had a couple of times that we were scared. And it was I remember it being Thanksgiving weekend and I was home with Link. My husband went hunting and we were talking to the doctors and they're like, I literally had to ask, how bad is this? Like, is she going to die in there alone? Or what are you saying? And they were like, well, it's a close call. Like, she's not doing well. And I remember being like, what the fuck? If she dies in there with no one, I will lose my shit. Right? And thank God for my brother-in-law, Tim. So, obviously she got through that, right? Thanksgiving. Now it's Christmas. She's in again. She's got just things with cancer. Like, they put a stent in and it was like draining some fluid, but that was getting backed up and, it was just getting really bad where she couldn't keep anything down, things like that. He does what he does, pulled some strings. I'm talking about Tim. He gets a grace to come on Christmas Day. We picked her up from the hospital at 8 a.m. on Christmas morning, brought her home. They were there later in the afternoon. She passed away December 27th.
At home.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yes. Surrounded by all of us, which is what she wanted. And what's the alternative? Alone?
Yeah. Right.
Alone?
Yeah. Right?
And what are you supposed to do? Right.
Yeah.
Like, which was completely different than obviously Rylee, which I was like so freaking thankful that she passed away in the hospital. And I know she did that for me.
Yeah.
I just know it.
Yeah.
My mom, we all wanted her home, and that's where she wanted to, which, it doesn't have those same connotations. So did she get
a year and a half?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot. I mean, that was a long time because it
9 to 11 months. And then,
right. Because it sort of sounded like a death sentence at the beginning, right?
Yeah. Correct. Well, let's get this at bay.
Yeah. Let's just make her comfortable. Yes. So that was a long time.
Mm-hmm. And she obviously I'm pretty sure she did things that she didn't want to do. If it was just her and my dad, I think she would have been like, Dennis, like, I'm good. I've fought so many other things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. But I just had Lincoln in June of 2019. And, she kept going. My dad would like carry her. Like, she used a walker. You know what I mean? She did things that she necessarily, I don't think in her heart of hearts was like, oh my God, like she was so tired, but she knew that she wanted to be around for us. I mean, selfishly, I wanted her around to, meet my kid. Like, you know what I mean? And it kind of popped into my head the other day, and it made me really sad, is my mom does not have a picture with my kids all in the same. She has a picture with Rylee.
Oh, like they're not all three together.
Yeah.
Or even the two. Yeah.
Like, she has a picture with Rylee. She has a picture with Lincoln. Nothing with Cam. But it's not even like where the boys can hold Rylee in a picture frame or hold my mom in a picture frame. But like, that will never happen. And I was like, that's really messed up.
Yeah.
Like, so
How old was your mom?
She was 60.
Early 60s.
Yes. Well, my dad just turned 70 and she was born in
66, maybe?
Yes.
56.
Yeah. Yes. 56. Yeah. You're right. So, yeah. And apparently, like, breast cancer and pancreatic are linked.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either until, this whole shitstorm.
I'm not sure if you know that Dale's dad passed away when he was just 59. And, like, I know how bad that fucked up her family, right? Like, not in a, like, grief is just so not linear.
No, not at all.
And time is not linear.
Mm-mm.
And grief makes people do fucked up things.
Correct.
Grief is like probably the most under-researched. I just don't, like, until you go through grief, I don't know that there's really any way to explain it or explain the behaviors around it, and not to compare, but this just wasn't your mom, right? Like, this was also a child. So, like, mom, child, and then grandma.
Yeah. Well, grandma was in between.
Oh, grandma was in between.
Yes.
Okay. And that was your mom's mom?
2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the matriarch of the Simon family.
Yeah. Which, like, that's a little bit more acceptable.
Correct.
All right. Like, it seems more acceptable.
Yes.
Should there be varying degrees of death and acceptance? maybe not.
Right.
Who knows?
But it's your grandma, so it makes sense.
Well, it makes sense. Like when you came on here, it's just like, you should not outlive your children, right? Like that's just, it's not the order of things.
Correct.
So even your mom, right? Like certainly you don't outlive your grandchildren.
Yeah.
Right. So like that kind of,
right.
It's just, I mean, death is very fickle anyway, and we all know we're going to die, or we should.
Yeah.
Because we do.
Right.
But that kind of grief, does it compound?
I mean, I feel like it did, because there's definitely.
I mean, like you have like front row seat to this. So I'm very curious if you think
it was, I mean, my grandma's, I think it was obviously like things made sense. She was very old. She lived a great life. We all got to go in and say goodbye to her.
Mm-hmm. Grandchildren got to say goodbye.
Correct.
Yeah. And great grandchildren.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody. And what she told me, and I literally like have a video of this because one of my cousins took a video. She's like, I'm sorry that you had to be so strong right now. And she always called me Caitlin. She never called me Kate. I'm so sorry what you had to go through and how strong you had to be when you were doing it. I was like, Grandma, don't say that right now. I said, I love you. And, you know, whatever. I said something about eating bologna sandwiches with her at her pool, whatever. But that just shows you what kind of grandma she was and what kind of person she was, always thinking about everyone else. But like that stretch, if I didn't get pregnant so fast with Lincoln, I think it was like the second try.
Which is interesting because it took you a year.
So, correct. That's why I was like, this is nuts. Like how, and honestly, everybody talks about, that being your rainbow baby. And obviously, you never replace, you know, people who ever even think about saying that about, you shouldn't have a baby to replace a baby. Like, no, you don't even know what you're talking about. He probably saved my life in more ways than one. And now he's a 5-year-old and it's, you know, crazy to think like, and he's just my kid that basically saved my life, which, and my other reason was like, my family has gone through so much shit and so much stuff. I would never do that to them.
Oh, yeah.
Like in my brain,
that's nice. That's nice of you.
Like, no, I could never, you know what I mean? But I remember like that summer, one memory specific, we were all out at the sport bowl for some stupid reason, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it was weird because you just get treated differently after your kid dies, whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah.
And I came home and I was crying and she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I want to be normal. I just want to be normal. And she was like, I know, but that's not the plate you are given.
Your grandma said that?
No, my mom.
Oh, your mom. Yeah.
She goes, that's not your reality.
Yeah.
So it's okay to cry about it, but
say goodbye, sister.
Correct.
Right? Like those days are over.
Yeah. And I think she had to, you know, do the same. Like she got cancer. Then her kid got cancer. Then her grandkid got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we know what tragedy is in our big family, right? We do. But when you really say you never think it will happen to you, you don't. Like never in a million years did I picture my life like this when I met Tyler in Minnesota. Like, oh yeah, you and I are gonna be together and we're gonna go through all this fucked up shit.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Well, no, you think it's gonna be like sunshine and rainbows for your entire life, right? I mean, I'm older than you and you will get to this, or you're already at this point. Like you don't get to 45 or apparently 35 unscathed.
Right.
Right? Like if you do, something is coming. You're like either in it, you're about to be in it, or you just got through it.
Right.
There is just nothing. Life just doesn't go that way.
No,
and until you have the tools to deal with it, it's a real bitch.
Correct.
I want to ask you about Tyler.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that together? How do you... this is going to sound really like... And maybe it's TMI and you want me to cut it. That's totally fine. But like, how do you have sex again to make another baby?
Right.
Like, how do you get to a point where you're not like angry? And or I'm assuming at some point, like maybe you blamed each other, or maybe you never
Right.
got there. But I think that is one thing that people really struggle with in marriage,
for
right?
sure.
Like, I can't even imagine that. I don't know the statistic, but I would imagine it's
very
really high for breakups.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Divorce rates for if you have a child who was passed are very high.
Yeah.
So
they're high enough already, but like, that's
seriously,
probably astronomical.
No. So at first it was definitely like weird, but we really like were a forefront together.
Yeah.
We said like, we also did therapy together.
Okay.
With it being separate too.
Yeah.
So, and we kind of let each other be each other. Because if you don't, if you're trying, like, he's really into outdoors, loves to hunt, all that stuff. That's your passion. You go do you. And that has, I think, helped us because then we're more coherent when we're both are humans first. You know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously, yes, things change when you get married and what you give up things. You just do. Yeah. That's marriage. But like, we are so now like you learn a really big lesson. Like life is really short, obviously. Mm-hmm. And like you said, time is all you have. So what you do with that time is literally the most valuable thing in the world. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go hunting and do that, perfect. Yeah. Great. And that I think is kind of how we mesh together so well. And the fact we let each other be each other unapologetically.
Yeah.
That's the way love works.
Yeah.
It's not, no, you can't go there. Okay, let's try to figure it out. No, you can't go to a baseball game. Like, and he writes a long Facebook post about me, thanking me every year for letting him coach.
Yeah.
We just figure it out because I know it makes him happy and it makes me happy seeing him happy and doing what he loves, which is coaching. And I know he loves being a teacher, otherwise he wouldn't. Like, let's be honest. Yeah. So, and he knows that I would love to stay at home and just put on a movie and, cuddle my kids and then go to bed.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Like, do you know what I'm saying?
I think one of the most important things you said earlier that I think ties into this is you just don't take anything personally.
Yeah.
From your husband. Right?
Exactly.
Like, he's not out to get you by going and coaching or going out and doing the things he loves.
Yes.
It's not like he's leaving you. I mean, when you don't take things personally, it has to be blanket, not personal.
Correct.
And what a saving grace.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably saved your marriage, possibly saved your life, right? Saved relationships and friends and and people are different after.
Of course.
Tell me about that.
So obviously I said he kind of is like more into things now, like is a little more perturbed about some things than I am. And who knows, maybe he would be, we never had a 5-year-old before. So maybe it's, that
maybe
way.
It would have been that way anyway, right? Like it's hard to know, right? Like you don't know.
I mean, he's always been this caring, loving, emotional guy that I fell in love with when I was in college. So, I mean, I don't think our relationship has actually, like if there's something we're very passionate about, the other is going to back us 1,050%. Like that's just what our understanding is. Like we're in this together. Yeah. This is a forever thing. Like we're each other's best friends. Like that's what, you know what I mean? Like that's how it goes. And
that doesn't come without a lot of work though.
Correct. You have to be really honest.
Yeah.
With yourself and your partner.
And I'm sure people would look at you and be like, well, you're very lucky you found that person. Luck might have something to do with it, but you've also worked really hard. Correct. I mean, the fact that you went to therapy, the fact that he went to therapy, the fact that you both allow the other one to do what they are meant to do in this life is
correct.
A huge testament.
Honestly, like if I got mad every time he went hunting or
and it's not personal.
Correct. That's the thing. It's like you only have so much time in this world. Do what makes you happy. You don't get that time back and you don't get those opportunities back. You don't.
Yeah.
We don't get that. Oh, wait, I'd like that 30 minutes that no. Do what you want right now. Do it. That's my advice. Do it.
Yeah.
Just like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Because there's never a good time for things, to happen or whatever, There's never going to be the ultimate time to like, we have young kids and life is like really hard sometimes, okay?
Yeah, you're in a season. You're in it to win it, man.
Right. And
how old are your kids right now? 5?
5 and
almost 3. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
that's an intense time, sister.
Right.
My kids are 15 and 12. There's an end in sight, I promise. Right? Like, you don't want to wish that season away for sure.
Right.
But like when you get out of car seats, man.
The car seats. So gross.
Car seat.
Oh my God, there's so many goldfish in there, or turtles, whatever the heck we have. Freaking glued on like fruit snacks.
Just throw that motherfucker away when you're
literally
done.
like,
no,
you don't want
Thank
it.
you.
You do not want it. But that's the hard thing. It's like, or if like I went shopping and you get like, no, that's not how it works. Like, we both know what we bring to the table.
Yeah.
And our strengths and our weaknesses. So that's how you mesh, and you have to figure that out. You figure that out real quickly after you go through something like this. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, and it makes you stronger in the long run, or whatever the heck people like to say. No, we were actually really very weak for a while. Like, and then that's what we chose to do.
Yeah.
You have to choose that because it just doesn't like.
Do you remember that
happen.
as a choice at all? Like, do you remember making a choice? Like, I have a choice here.
I mean, not really, because I don't think it was ever like we were like hand in hand.
Yeah. Just an unspoken choice. Yeah.
Correct. And like there might have been days where like I literally couldn't get out of bed. He takes the brunt of that.
Yeah.
He is having a day. I take the brunt of that. And it's not tit for tat, because if you do that,
that's over.
Just goodbye.
Right? Like,
goodbye.
Please stop taking score.
Correct. This is like I'm going to pick you up when you're down. You're going to pick me up when I'm down. And it's a trust. It's not oh, last week you did this, so this week I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
So it's just always, I knew that I wanted to marry him literally the second that I met him.
Yeah.
So it was just, I was like, well, you're stuck with me. So.
And you're really stuck with me now because we got 2.
I'll be like, right.
And I need help.
Yeah.
Tell me about Rylee Strong, the golf outing.
Yes. Okay.
All of the things, because it's not just a golf outing, right?
Right. So around for Rylee. So we were like, we have to give back. Like, we have to help.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Did Around for Rylee start the first year? So it was like 6 months later. Was that your idea?
We kind of just were like, what do we want to do something? Yep. What do we do?
Yep.
And we're like, obviously, my brother-in-law had played in a lot of charity golf tournaments and things like that. He's like, you make it what it is.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, can't be that fucking hard. So let's go. It has become, I won't say like standardized, but now it's just me and my sister, Kelsey, she does a lot of work on it. I'm very thankful for her because she takes on, a lot of jobs and responsibility when it comes to that. We wanted it to be around her birthday, not on her birthday. It will never be on her birthday. It's always the first Friday in October. And we just wanted a place to, one, celebrate her life, because obviously she deserves that. We kind of were like, people are asking us all the time, like, what can we do to help with XYZ? So we're like, okay, this first date. And we knew we wanted to give back because there was no funding.
Yeah.
For pediatric cancer. Like, literally, the funding it's actually sickening. And you can earmark things all the time.
Yeah.
Which at the Children's Hospital, if you wanted to go to certain things like Child Life, which gives them toys to play with up there and things like that. Yeah. Otherwise, you can say like what they most need it to. But then with obviously my brother-in-law's affiliation with the Carbone Cancer Center, which is affiliated directly with the American Family Children's Hospital, we said, why not give it to the cancer center so they can strictly do pediatric cancer research.
And you can earmark it.
Yes.
That specifically. That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's just become this full blown, the doctors come out and talk. Dr. Rylee is awesome. He literally has talked for the last, I think, 3-4 years. And it's really, I think, nice for the people who are at the golf outing to hear him talk, just so we know where the money's going. Because, yes, it is a golf outing. It's a good time, right?
Yeah.
It fills up so fast. It's crazy. And we do want everybody to have fun. That's like, this is not a sit here and cry and, for me about this thing. That's the exact opposite of what we want.
Yeah.
We want fun. We want you to be here because we're celebrating her life and her memory and, things like that. Her picture is in the American Family Children's Hospital next to Cindy Crawford.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. So Cindy Crawford's brother or some sibling was treated.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. It's something along those lines. And so she obviously donated a ton of money there. So, but then obviously then Rylee's picture and plaque is next to her. We haven't gotten to see it yet because of COVID and all the restrictions they've put on there. But we are hopefully going to go see it in the next coming months. So she's making her mark, and I think she probably will for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, yep, Around for Rylee it's just fun. It's fun to be there. There's Willow and Weld comes.
Yeah. Your silent auction is amazing.
Yes, lots
If somebody wanted to donate in Rylee's name, is there a way to do that?
Yes, it's all on. It's just www.aroundforrylee.com.
RYLEE.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely put that in the show notes too.
Okay.
How about going forward? What does life look like? I know you're in that intense kid time.
Yeah.
I would imagine that some people that are listening to this are possibly going through this, know somebody that is.
Mm-hmm.
Are you interested in talking about it forever? Are you interested in doing something with it? Are you not there yet?
No, I'm definitely interested in talking. I think if you can't talk to people about it, like, to me, I want to help as many people as I can with this stuff. This happened to me. Okay. And if it's also happening to you, having someone who has been through it might, help you. Might. It all depends on your, what you're going through and whatever. But to me, I'll always be connected to this.
Yeah.
I will. And with my new job right now, I am the HR and project management director for Brandtech. And we also partner with Guarding Against Cancer.
Oh, yeah.
So I set up all the basketball games.
Very cool.
Around. So I get to work with Guarding Against Cancer for right now and go around. And it helps, obviously, that there's a kind of a history there. And that's why my boss was like, I knew you'd be perfect for this job. So here it is, So, it's just when you have a story, I'm not afraid to tell my story or afraid to tell her story, right? Like, that's just not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wasn't, that's fine.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to share a story, then I wouldn't. So I will always be connected to it.
Yeah.
I think.
You've mentioned therapy a couple of times. Is there anything else that's really helped you?
Oh, so I started working out.
Yeah.
Like, I started doing, actually, my friend Lauren was like, hey, do you want to just try working out? And so I ended up working out with a bunch of girls or women on Zoom. Yeah. When this whole stuff was going down, it was obviously more back then because of COVID and whatnot. Yeah. Like, if I don't move my body, I'm crabby. You don't want to deal with me. Like, it's just kind of like a mental thing, because it's more like an expressive kind of like lift heavy weights. And kind of the first program that I did was a boxing one. Mm-hmm. And I literally took that very seriously. And I actually got a bag, still have it. And I was so beyond frustrated that I just beat the shit out of the bag.
The shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And helpful.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, mentally, emotionally, and with my health, journey, I ended up I think it lost like 30 pounds, 35 pounds. Like it was crazy because obviously, and I still am this way. I'm an emotional eater. When I'm sad, please give me a casserole. Like, Dad, can you make me some scalloped potatoes and ham, please?
I mean, I'm the same, and I love, like, this sounds horrible, but I love funeral food.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, all the funeral food. Right?
Yeah.
Like, the cheesy potatoes. You know, again, we're from Wisconsin, so funeral food is a real thing here. Like, I think it's a real thing everywhere, but we're not like in Louisiana.
No.
Right? Like, where they have, like, cool funeral food.
Yeah.
This is like...
No, this is like meat, potatoes.
Yeah. Tater tot casserole, all the desserts. Yeah. Give me all the funeral food.
Right. The strawberry pretzel dessert. I'm like, Dad, can you please just make me anything in the polka dot casserole dish, please? Yep. Whatever you say. You know what I mean? So, or like, I think I asked one of my aunts, can you make me your macaroni and cheese?
Well, and of course they're all like, yes, I can.
Of course. Yeah. So that's the thing.
Let me ask you about your family. How is everybody? Right? Like, I know you've got 4 nephews, right? And they were super close to Rylee, and that's hard to lose a cousin, right? Like, there's just, and I think it was more like their sister.
It was crazy watching them navigate. I mean, the oldest one, Alden, is going to be 20 here in a couple of days.
God, really?
I know. Isn't that crazy? And
20? Oh, man.
And they're just so, like, Happy Mother's Day, Kate, you know, like texting and like, they all just, they're very well brought up boys. And obviously watching them kind of navigate this whole scenario, because they lost a cousin, then they lost their great grandma, and then they lost their grandma.
Yeah.
And
their mom lost their mom. And their mom lost their niece, right?
Yeah.
Like, and, you know, I mean, there is a lot of bags of grief that go along with that. And Seriously. It changes those kids' lives. It just changes them, right? Like, my kids were different. My kids were only 5 and 8 when Al died, but my kids were different before.
Right. Yeah.
Like, death just changes you. It's a part of life, but death changes you, period.
Right. Yeah. And their dad, Tim, usually always talks to at the golf outing. And he is like a big proponent of perspective. He's like, you could do this, you guys, or you could do this. You know, you could lay in bed all day, or you could and he always said, Rylee would choose to get up and go move and go do this. So, watching their parents go through, so my sister Kelsey was in Chicago when Rylee was going through her chemo, and she would come up whenever she could, obviously. Yeah. But then Kendra would, you know, come to the hospital, bring the boys, and, you know, she'd come and hang out during the day and, you know, all those things. So, yeah, they're all, you know, and the littlest one he just got out of 6th grade. So, and I think they were they would have sleepovers with her at my parents' house, and, you know, they would, little kids hang together. So it's like, you know, they are still in that, like, get sad mode, you know what I mean? Which I'm always like, should I send them this picture? Should I want, you know, and they, you know, have their moments when they talk about it, and then they don't, because they're still, imagine being that.
Yeah, they've been like in their teen, you know, like little kid lives up to teens, and, you know, they become very self-absorbed too. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Right. So by all means, but I've seen photos, you know, over the years, and it just like, they are such good boys. I don't know them personally, but like you could just tell that they're just, and I know your sister really well, and Tim, and it's just a good family. So, and it's very hard to see bad things happen to good families. And that is like, while it's reality, it's not fun.
Oh, well, of course.
Right? Like, it's not easy, even from, I mean, I'm not in any way saying like, oh, you should feel bad for me because I feel bad for you. But like, it's just hard to see stuff like this happen. Right. Mm-hmm. But then you see things like Around for Rylee, right? Which and you see the outpouring of support, and you see that people are very engaged and again, right? Like, it's a golf outing, right? Like, we're all here for the fun. And I get, like, don't get me wrong, I love me a good golf outing. But when the doctor talks, everybody shuts up. right? Like it is really important for that to be like at the forefront with a side of fun.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, or vice versa, whatever it is.
Oh, and I should say, like with the boys, it's initial show, like where they grew up and stuff, their friends, like all know about Rylee and things like that, which, you know, they have a choice not to talk. Like maybe it really makes them sad. So, and I never want to make them or whatever, but like now when he's in college, all of his buddies came to around for Rylee and then we went out together.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
and that will just continue,
to how
right? Like their kids will know about Rylee. They're like, it is it just that kind of thing when you can find the positive in it, when you can shine some light on it, when you can be thankful and grateful for the time that you had, it does spread. I mean, I hope it spreads faster and deeper than the other way, right? Because there's other ways.
Well, and also giving them space to have shitty days and have like, it's okay if you are sad about this today because I'm sad too. Like they're always there for me. I think, and this was even went to the Race for Research. It's something that the Carbone Cancer Center does. And there's a picture of me and I'm leaning on Hudson and he has his arm around me. And I remember him saying, "It's okay, Kate. It's okay." Like, so they are all protectors of all of us.
Plus, they're the tallest boys on earth.
Oh,
like, they all look like protectors.
Correct. And it's so crazy to me. I was like, you were literally, it felt like yesterday you were sitting on my lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you are.
Time marches on,
you know, 18 years old, making, you know, all your own decisions and you couldn't turn out to be a better person. So it's just crazy. But they are, you know, they're amazing boys.
And you said Kelsey just had her scan and she's free.
Yes.
Yep. Amazing.
She's building the house with her husband. Yep. And she's a stepdaughter who is literally 3 days apart from Link.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
And Kendra's good. I mean, she's watching all those boys.
I know. She's
leave the nest,
like,
right?
Go this way, that way, whichever way.
Up,
Stevens Point or whichever. Someone was here, someone was there. But,
and your dad?
Oh gosh, I joke with everyone. I'm like, he has a busier social schedule than I do. Like when I call him to like, hey,
you want to do something?
Do you want to babysit? And he was like, no, I can't. I'm like, oh,
damn it.
Like, he's like, well, I'm actually going to Remington's for fish with, I'm like,
okay. I mean, I wanted to do that too.
Right. Like, I guess I have to bring my kids out. No. You take them over. But he just turned 70.
Okay.
And he is, you know, what is it? Just living, man, or whatever. Like Matthew McConaughey.
I love you.
Literally. So, but yeah, he golfs and watch Link.
He retired?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he retired.
So he's following sports.
Like 7 years. He retired like almost 8 years ago, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. When I was pregnant with Rylee, he retired.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. 2016. So, yeah, way more than. Yeah. But yeah, he goes to every T-ball game he can and every lacrosse game, every game.
Just to close her up, anything you would like to add? Anything you've learned? Anything? I'd love to have you back at some point after, after.
You know, I love talking. So, I mean,
maybe after a round for Rylee, that would be amazing. Yeah. I'd love to hear about, you know, how this year went.
Yeah.
And anything you'd like to add?
Don't be surprised at yourself and what you can walk through. Yeah. Literally, just keep going because it's a shit sandwich, but make it literally the best shit sandwich.
I love that so much.
It's hard, but it's worth it because you only get one life.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want my kids right now to be like, well, did I get the short end of the stick? Because my sister got sick. They don't even know her.
Yeah.
They have no clue about her. So I'm trying to be the best human that I can be for myself, for my husband, and my kids.
Yeah.
And my family. So.
And it sounds like she taught you a lot in her short little time.
More than I could ever imagine.
Yeah.
More than anything I could possibly learn elsewhere.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. I hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of living authentically with me. Before you go, don't forget to connect with me on Instagram. Shoot me a message at Katie Rip. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's episode and connect with you further. And remember, if you want more details on today's episode or just want to explore more about designing your life unapologetically, head on over to my website at katierip.com. There, you'll find all the juicy details and resources you need to keep the inspiration flowing. Lastly, if you'd like to join me on the show, whether it's to tell about your experience of designing your own life, to share your expertise, or if you'd like to participate in lifestyle coaching live on air, don't hesitate to reach out. Your story could inspire countless others on their own path to living authentically. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep living boldly, designing your life, and remember, #ActuallyICan.